All you had to do was just not speak. That was it. And yet, I don't know what I expected from a guy who would quite simply cut off his nose to spite his face.
Hey kids, it's me, Polly the polar bear, and I'm here to tell you a random word of the day. My word today is Nick.
What's up, just a bird dragon? Today we are talking about Matt Jarbo because he has decided to sweep for Chrissie Mayr, which is the worst possible thing he could have done after everything that's happened in the last month. If you don't know who I'm talking about, we've got a couple different players on the field right now. Because I don't know shit about Chrissie Mayr, I didn't know she existed until all this stuff started happening with Quartering and Brittany Venti. I had to do a little bit of research. So, player one, we have Matt Jarbo. He's known for Bouldergate, where he pulled a false flag operation, lied about it, got caught live on the Ralph retort, on the kill stream, and it basically ruined his career on YouTube. And for the last 10 years, anytime he's posted anything online, people have clowned on him for it because he is mundane Matt. The only reason why Matt Jarbo is back in the public conscious to begin with is because he actually had a pretty solid take about the Quartering drama, which boiled down to, you made the same mistake that I made back in the day. And he took his licks, he apologized for it, he got on his hands and knees, he got milked. That's what happens to little cows when they do stupid shit. But he left the public eye after all that stuff happened. Quartering did the same thing, except he refuses to leave the public eye and has triple, quadruple, quintuple down on the situation he's created for himself. When Bouldergate happened, Jeremy gave Matt Jarbo some advice, which Quartering probably should have followed.
Flagging videos between YouTubers is especially egregious. It's about as egregious an offense a YouTuber can make. This is why so many YouTubers are against you, against your actions, I should say. I know I haven't had a problem publicly admitting that I'm a shitty person and I do shitty things. There are many clips of me doing this. The idea that reading videos, reading articles like I do, I make the same videos you do, Matt. They don't take that long. So stop looking at your subscribers, make things right with people, and start to deal with your problems head on. Okay, going back to work as usual and acting like nothing happened is not going to make it go away. And you know damn well Jim's going to make a video and it's going to make it worse. So get out in front of it, apologize, do what you can to make things right, and then take a week off. Get off Twitter, stay off YouTube. People will move on, okay? People will move on. There'll be another meme. Right now, you're the meme. You can either embrace it, which you're not doing, or you can just let it pass. Just man up. Accept the fact that YouTube is never going to be a job for you. This is going to follow you around forever. You're not going to get help from other creators. Go get a job, dude. Learn how to weld. Learn a trade. Not toiling away, pooping out 5 YouTube videos a day.
What have you become?
Given the fact that he's been drinking alcohol nonstop every single day for the last 30 years, his long-term and short-term memory are both completely blasted. Jarbo made a statement. He made a Twitter video about this a couple weeks ago when the flaggatry started, and it was great advice because he's been through this. And so Jarbo got himself a win for the first time in 10 years online, and that was well and good. But then he decided to defend Chrissie Mayr, saying probably the most rage-baiting shit he could. As for player 2, we have Chrissie Mayr. She is a middle-aged comedian. She appears as a guest on Friday Night Tights. She does shitty impressions. She talks about culture war bullshit. She does the Amy Schumer shtick where she talks about sex and prostitution and drugs and shit and thinks it's funny. I don't really know why she's there. The reason why everybody's upset with Chrissie Mayr is because she had Melanie Mack on shortly after the Quartering stuff happened. She pretended not to know what the Quartering drama was about until Brittany Venti showed that they had talked in DMs prior to Melanie Mack coming on. Brittany Venti also offered to come on to the show to explain what was going on and have a conversation about Melanie Mack. Instead of taking Brittany at her word and engaging with her, she pretended not to see Brittany's message. She lied about the DM, and then when Brittany proved that she had seen the DM, she basically said, "I'm sorry you feel that way," for treating her like shit and pretending that they're good friends. But if this is how Chrissie treats her good friends, you know, who needs enemies, right? Chrissie is currently under fire because she shat on Brittany Venti, she refused to ask Melanie Mack hard questions, and she has shut down her comment section. She locked it down to subscribers only, and then it had to be subscribers for 7 days, and then it had to be 11 days. So she has just continued to try and shut the noise out. The problem is that only encourages it. So when you're pretending that nothing is wrong, when you are very clearly in the wrong, that's where the issues come up. Quartering has been spotted in her chat. She has been given super chats by Jeremy. There there are rumors swirling that she may be the future co-host of the Quartercast, but that is the basic rundown of what's going on. Now, this all comes together in this really shitty tweet that Jarbo put out, because at the time, Nerdrotic, who hosts Friday Night Tights, didn't have Chrissie Mayr on for like a week, and he had said she's not going to be on the show. He's going to talk with her privately about where to go, how to move forward with this, and he had expressed that he wanted to, a good friend will tell you when you fuck up, and Chrissie's very clearly fucked up in this situation.
I didn't want to say too much because I still need to talk to her, right? Because I really, this is how I deal with things on phone calls and not on streams. I'll certainly tell you what I thought of the stream, which it wasn't good. There's no handbook for this shit, but she had a lot of friends talking to her about it, right? But ultimately, Chrissie's got to say what she wants to say. And but the best friends are the ones that tell you when you fuck up. Friends don't sign off on shit that is against their values.
So Matt Jarbo decided that the appropriate response to this news was to tweet out, "If Nerdrotics fires Chrissie Mayr from Friday Night Tights, that's some real SJW shit." It took me a minute to unpack what he was trying to say here, because that's a really stupid fucking thing to say. For one thing, Chrissie Mayr is not doing anything to address the situation. If she were to go on Friday Night Tights, where they don't talk about drama, they talk about culture war shit, Chrissie Mayr coming on would fill the live stream chat with oranges and how was your weekends and people demanding answers from Chrissie. It would quite simply bring the drama over to Friday Night Tights, and that doesn't apply here. They have addressed this multiple times on the podcast, giving a few statements about it, but not really going into details. And as far as we know, until Chrissie is willing to actually address the situation and own her mistakes, they're not interested in having her on. And frankly, I don't blame them. They don't need the smoke. They didn't do anything wrong in this situation. So for Jarbo to say that by canceling Chrissie Mayr and not having her on as a guest for Friday Night Tight is SJW shit is incredibly cringe and inaccurate. The problem isn't that Chrissie has become a pariah because she believes the wrong things from Gary. The problem is that she is willingly dragging the drama out and not addressing things properly or owning the fact that she's made any mistakes. And Gary doesn't want the smoke. It's as simple as that. It's the guy's podcast. He can do what he wants. But then when somebody asks him in the comments, "Did you just say they're social justice warriors?" Matt responds with this AI definition of this terminology he came up with himself. So Matt doubles down and says, yeah, they are. A right-wing SJW, sometimes called a culture warrior, conservative justice warrior, or similar, is the mirrored counterpart to the standard left-leaning SJW label. From a right-wing perspective, or from critics observing symmetry in the culture wars, it's used to describe someone who aggressively champions conservative, traditionalist, nationalist, or religious values in the same performative, dogmatic, hypersensitive, and often self-serving way that SJWs push progressive causes. So for one thing, we can tell that this is AI because of all the fucking hyphens in it, and the fact that this is eloquent, which is something that Matt Jarbo has never been. Just look at any of his reviews in the last 48 hours that aren't AI assisted. And he's a proponent of AI, which is fucking gross and not surprising from somebody who has no original thoughts in his brain. But it's not 2016, it's not 2018. Why are we saying SJW at all? Matt Jarbo is perpetually stuck a decade in the past like quartering is. Regardless of whether or not you like the woke, anti-woke shit that gets put out by these channels, he's a pop culture critic. All he really cares about is talking about pop culture. He doesn't do drama. Gary said it more than once. So why would he want to drag the drama onto his live stream? And not only that, but he's making this shit up. Never in my life have I ever heard anybody call somebody who is like aggressively hyper conservative, like the fuck ass bitches that were demanding people be fired for making fun of Charlie Kirk getting kirked. I didn't hear anybody call them conservative justice warriors, so I'm not really sure what he's talking about. Half of the comments are just like, source, I made it up. And for me, all I can really feel is disappointment, because you're married, you have a kid. What could you possibly gain from defending Chrissie Mayr? She's not gonna touch you, and you shouldn't want her to because you're married and you have a kid. I'm not sure why he's doing this to begin with, unless he has an axe to grind with Nerdrotics with Gary. And I'm suspecting he does, because he keeps trying this angle of saying that Gary is the same as like Anita Sarkeesian. He calls him Ganita. Somebody asked him like what's going on in regards to this tweet, and Matt Jarbo responds with, Ganita is perpetually on his period, but in this case, it has to do with the courter reportedly flagging down channels critical of him. I've seen people say that Nita Sarkeesian and people like Gary Nerdrotic are two sides of the same coin. They both just bitch and moan about stuff being woke or anti-woke. Regardless of how you feel about that shit, he didn't really make a mistake here. He's just trying to keep his fucking head down and talk about the shit that he wants to talk about, which is how Star Trek has been ruined for the 4,000th time. So, I don't know. It's just odd that Matt Jarbo has had solid takes this entire time when criticizing quartering, but then the second Chrissie Mayr shows up, all of a sudden the broom is out. He's got a sweep for her. It doesn't make sense. But obviously, this didn't go over well. A lot of people clowned on him in the comments. He did try to fight back. It didn't really work out, and we can see this from the fact that he has stopped talking about the quartering shit altogether. Now he's talking about movies he's watched and shows he's watched and how AI is good, and it's just strange. He's trying to pretend like nothing happened. So that's all I had to say about that. I just wanted to jump in here because I had compared quartering to Jarbo, which wasn't fair to Mundane Matt because he didn't make the same mistakes that Jeremy did. He fucked up once, caught shit for it because it was considered like the highest crime online at the time, especially as somebody who he also had gotten flagged down in the past and had become a free speech warrior. For him to do the same thing to other people that upset him, you know, makes it pretty clear that you're a hypocrite. Quartering has taken that and quadrupled down and has only exacerbated the situation. So it made sense for Jarbo to call it out and be critical of it. For him to now turn around and defend somebody for doing the exact same shit the quartering was doing, minus the actual flagging, but the silencing, the playing dumb, the doubling down, it's pretty embarrassing. So I retract any and all goodwill I had towards Matt Jarbo because this was incredibly disappointing and eye-opening. So that's all I had to say about that. I'm counting this as my second quartering video because it is Jeremy adjacent. And the next video, we're gonna talk about something else. So hope you guys have a great long weekend, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.